gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's September the 7th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented as always by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, we're back to blogging today. We got our weekly Xavier Restrepo blog, and he's been a great addition to the CaneSport team this year. I love it. Love his commentary and his perspectives on what's going on the team. And, you know, the thing that really stands out to me about Xavier is we've watched him dominate on the practice field all through spring practice, all through fall practice. It was really nice for us to see him take it to game day and do it on the field in a game for the first time.
And that's my turn already?
It's all you, man.
Usually you talk for like 5 or 10 minutes.
No, but let me tell you why. Because you know how sensitive I am about comments, okay? And I got lambasted yesterday in the YouTube comments by somebody like screaming at me, Gary, let Matt talk. Let Matt talk. Stop cutting them off. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all right, wait a minute. We do a 30-minute show, and Matt talks for at least 22 of the 30 minutes. And I'm sitting here getting ripped for cutting Matt off on a comment yesterday, which, and I remember what it was. And you know, it was just some little minor mistake. You know, a few things got crossed up regarding Kevin Steele, and I was just correcting it. Not a big deal. And, but man, I got taken to task for that. So today, this is the new Gary on Good Morning CaneSport. I'm letting you run the show, man. I'm letting you do your thing. So tell us what you think about how great it was to see Xavier Restrepo balling out in a game.
Well, first of all, I'm the one who posted that on the YouTube channel. So
Sure.
I'm glad it worked. I'm glad it worked. So, you know, Gary, I do have a problem with you because you are the reason. If the receiver room falters, you're the reason why. Do you want to know the reason for that?
Yeah,
because I'm, you know, I love Xavier Restrepo to death. I've covered him since recruiting. I think he's great. All around great guy, great player, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we arranged to meet, and you know, we meet at I'm not going to tell everybody where we meet on campus because I'm sure it'll be a throng of fans wanting my autograph, not wanting his autograph, but he comes walking out at the appointed time, and he's walking with Tyler Van Dyke, side by side, just trotting towards me, the two of them. I said to them, that, listen, I know you guys are, this is true. I said, I know you guys are roommates. You do know you don't need to constantly be together, right? And to which apparently they don't have a sense of humor because, because after I said that, Xavier says to me, well, we're together because we were going to go study film. And I'm like, you know, we can reschedule the blog, dude. Like, that sounds a little more important than doing the CaneSport blog, you know. But Tyler's like, no, I got to eat something anyway. Xavier, you take your 15 minutes of fame with the CaneSport team. It's all good, man. So I guess, you know, maybe we didn't really ruin the Miami wide receiver room. But I love talking to Xavier because when you get Xavier in a group interview, it's reminiscent of those Eric Winston days where, you know, remember we held the microphone up to Eric Winston the first time he did an interview and he backpedaled 50 yards the entire time and we kept following him with our microphones like he was treating it like our microphones were weapons. That's, you know, Xavier sort of shuts down in a group setting. He doesn't want to say much, but when you get him one-on-one and he's comfortable with you, he's amazing. And I just encourage everybody to really read the blog today. You know, for when Xavier says some of the things that he says, it does sound like coach talk, player talk, but knowing Xavier, he actually means it. This isn't your typical player who just wants to do what the sports information department tells him. The same sports information department, Gary, by the way, that would not hand out the depth chart until to the minute 2 hours before kickoff Saturday, even though I've learned through my numerous amazing sources that they had the depth chart on Friday, but said, why let fans and the media know the depth chart against Bethune-Cookman? It might help Bethune-Cookman tremendously the day before the game to know who we're listing as an or at linebacker and at defensive line. So anyway, but listen, just read the Restrepo interview. He was great. He talked about, a couple of his big plays and what he saw. And to me, the best part of that whole interview was how he was talking about what he saw on one of his routes on the long gain, whatever, 50 yards, whatever it was. And he thought he was going to score, of course. He thinks he's going to score every play. He says, whatever. But what was interesting is he tells the reader, tells you guys what he was reading off the line and then what he did and how he knew he'd be one-on-one with the safety and what he was going to do to the safety. And then he just said how, Tyler Van Dyke knows the exact same thing because these guys study film together. They study constantly together. That's why Xavier Restrepo is going to have 70-plus catches this year, because anytime Tyler Van Dyke is in trouble or sees a certain formation, he knows what one guy at wide receiver is exactly what that guy's going to do. It wasn't Keyshawn Smith, Mike Redding, and Xavier Restrepo walking with Tyler Van Dyke, okay? It was Xavier Restrepo going one-on-one to study with Tyler Van Dyke. And that tells you everything you need to know. Now, does Tyler study with these other receivers? Gary, you got to pay for a blog with Tyler to find that out. I don't know. I felt it was inappropriate to ask. But we know this was Xavier, who was his roommate.
I would have done a blog with Tyler, except Tyler has so much media responsibilities and so much responsibilities as a quarterback. I said, you know what? It is pointless to do a blog with Tyler. He talks so much during the course of the week. But I thought Restrepo would be great because, we anticipated the role that he was going to have on this team. We anticipated that he would be the leading receiver on this team. And he's such a nice kid. And you want to reward kids that you watch in practice and see that they are giving 100% effort every single day, every single rep. And we did it last year with Mike Harley, and that's why we did an NIL deal with Mike Harley. And this year we knew that Restrepo was going to be that guy. So we did it with him this year. But the thing that's one of the things that's really cool in this blog is the enthusiasm that Restrepo shows for what Keyshawn Smith is getting done or got done against Bethune-Cookman. And we learned yesterday that Keyshawn and Xavier have kind of become each other's mentors, so to speak, and are helping each other out and are playing a role in how well each other's playing. Xavier is trying to bring out of Keyshawn, I'm sure, what he brings out of himself and get that kind of effort and engagement. But it's funny because Keyshawn's mom was so excited about everything that he did as a kickoff returner in the Bethune game that she took to social media and wanted to point out to everybody that, hey, Keyshawn's been doing this his whole life, okay? Like, this was nothing new. Keyshawn's always been a great kick returner. You guys just waited until his third year to use him. Take a look at this, Matt. This is Keyshawn as a youth league football player. Pretty good. Everybody else looks like they're standing still, but not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious from these highlights that Keyshawn Smith should not be returning kicks, right?
Those are pretty good instincts for a young Keyshawn, Anyway, Xavier talks about how, he and Keyshawn kind of, how happy he was to see him doing so well. He talks about how the special teams in general did on Saturday, which obviously was very good. He talks about his receptions in the game, the chemistry he has with Tyler Van Dyke. what went on at halftime amongst the team. So a lot of different things are covered in today's Xavier Restrepo blog, and we encourage everybody to take a look at that. All right, we also have a story today with Chase Smith, and he's a linebacker that a lot of us have been talking about here because, and Matt and I included, we felt all through training camp that Chase Smith would be a guy on this team that would make a move this fall. And he is playing every special team, and he's doing incredibly well on special teams. Now the question is, what does he need to do to bust out as a linebacker? And Matt, he seemed to try to give us a little bit of a hint that we're going to see that from him sometime soon.
Well, let's start with this. Okay, so Chase Smith, he spoke to a throng of reporters, I guess I'll call it. I don't know if there was a blackout at Miami yesterday, but it was on Green Tree, obviously. So, yeah, I think they had an electrical problem. Probably because they started playing sound for the first time on Green Tree. That was the first time I actually heard. It was actually kind of funny. So let's start with this. So we were able to watch summer practice yesterday, and after the first period, they have these speakers, which they bring out there to play sound, usually for away games, right? And I don't know if they were testing it out just for the Texas A&M game and just seeing how it would sound or whatever, but they put it on at a very low volume. And I turned to one of my reporter buddies and I said, I guess this is what it's going to sound like on Saturday at Hard Rock against Southern Miss. I guess they won't have that many fans because it's very, very soft, But anyway, they didn't really crank it up. So that's neither here nor there. So Chase Smith is talking afterwards, and there was a veteran reporter there that's not always there. And he's covered the Dolphins. He's covered the Hurricanes for years. He knows what he's talking about. And the reason I mention it is because he asked Chase Smith about the star position and what makes it unique. And, with the assumption of this reporter that Chase Smith is playing star. And the reason I mention that is because it's so confusing to every reporter when Chase Smith lines up at what we consider as reporters the star position, but Miami actually considers him a strong side linebacker. But with that said, strong side linebacker and star are the same position. It's just what they call star is a strong side linebacker who can cover, and a strong side linebacker just isn't very good at covering. He's more of a run-stopping star, whatever you want to call it. It's super confusing, and I actually found it humorous that this reporter, who's actually really, really good, I consider him probably one of the best reporters in South Florida, if not the best. Even he couldn't quite pick up on the nuances. And then later in the interview, after Chase very politely answered what a star does, Chase made it clear to another reporter that I don't play star, I play strong side linebacker. So I just found that very humorous. But yeah, I do think against a team like Southern Miss, Chase Smith will play a lot because he's not. So Corey Couch is not going to play star a lot against a running team where you don't need to cover anybody. Southern Miss runs the ball most of the time, goes out of the Wildcat, especially with a banged up starting quarterback. They're going to go out of the Wildcat, I think, a lot. I think Frank Gore Jr. won't just be running the ball. I think he'll be throwing the ball like he did last year when they had no real quarterback. And, you need – they have a physical offensive line. You need a physical front seven. And Chase Smith, he has put on enough weight to where he is no longer this skinny guy. Like, he's agile, he's fast, and he's strong. He's stronger, obviously, than Corey Couch. I think he's more athletic. I love Gil Frierson to death, but I think he's more athletic than Gil Frierson. So really the question becomes, Gil Frierson is a star, but Gil can also be a strong side linebacker, because he's big enough to do that. And he's not honestly as good in coverage, obviously, as a Corey Couch. So really to me, it comes down to Gil Frierson or Chase Smith when you play running teams. And I'm going to be very interested to see, sort of how Kevin Steele manages this game in particular, because when you're playing another really good running team, and I would say, honestly, even a Florida State, because I don't think Florida State's a really good passing team. I don't think Clemson's a really good passing team. So this will give us a little bit of a hint of how Kevin Steele deals with teams that he doesn't think can pass real well, but that have really good runners at the quarterback position and a good running game, and a team that probably wants to establish a run before the pass. So I think we're going to get some hints, even though they're going to be more vanilla than you'll see against these other teams. I think what we see in this Saturday will be similar to how they play defense against Clemson and Florida State, but not how they play defense against Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M, you're going to see a mix where Kevin Steele has to sort of guess run or pass, star or strong side linebacker at that spot. is James in the box or at safety, things like that. Is Cam Kitchens covering a guy or not? To use 3 safeties. That's Texas A&M. My guess is we're going to see a lot of multiple stuff from Kevin Steele, where he's just trying to confuse the hell out of Texas A&M's offense and hoping something sticks. Whereas these other games, he can sort of just be more like, okay, you try to beat this, and then we'll change. I think Texas A&M is going to be more multiple and just sort of see what sticks. And that's my guess, being the genius defensive coordinator I am.
All right. We also talked with the aforementioned Tyler Van Dyke, and he gives us his weekly update that's very thorough, as always, and which is why we don't do a blog with Tyler, because he does extended media sessions before, after games, and you pretty much get the whole Tyler Van Dyke story through those stories. So no reason to do that with Tyler Van Dyke. So you got that on the website today. All right, a couple more things.
By the way, one reporter promised me he was going to ask Tyler Van Dyke how upset are you that you didn't keep your 300-yard streak alive? Only because Josh Gaddis had mentioned it the day before, Yeah. But he chickened out, man.
Yeah, you know what?
It's not like it's not. That question should not be asked.
It's not. I also listen. Question. He would have said, "I don't care."
I also offered the same reporter $100
task
to peer through the fence during the dead period. We weren't allowed. So period 1 we're let out at practice. Period 2 we have to leave because God forbid we see a little bit of 11-on-11 team drills. Period 3 and 4 we're allowed back out again. So I said during period 2 when they usher us outside the fence, I said, listen, I'll give you $100 if you just peer through that little hole in the fence and force the SIDs to physically remove you from the fence. You get $100. To which he responded, no, thank you. But they did. Let me tell you, they did bring us onto the field at the end of period 2, but they had extended period 2 into continued team drills. So there's 2 SIDs. One of them's on the field, and the other one's with us, guarding the deeply held secrets of Mario Cristobal from being revealed. And the guy who's guarding us, who's maybe 5'8" and 150 pounds, but we can't get by him. There's only 15 of us, so it's really hard to get by him. He says, okay, period 3 is here, you can go out. So we start to go out with him. And as we get out there, and I'm always one of the first ones out there because I'm so fast and agile, I'm a Corey Flagg. Sorry, all you Corey Flagg haters. So I get out there and I look and I'm like, I'm watching team drills. This is great. And then the guy who's on the field, the SID who's on the field, sees us out there. And when I tell you, if you see the Grim Reaper, that's the amount of fear that was in his eyes. When he saw the media, the enemy was viewing 11-on-11. I mean, he was like, no, like one of those bounty commercials, And immediately we were bound, gagged, and waterboarded until we swore we wouldn't say anything we saw. So I'm sorry, everybody. I can't tell you what I saw in 11-on-11. We are also forbidden from saying anybody who's missing from practice or injured. We have been told that if by some crazy twist of fate we notice somebody's not there, which no good reporter will ever notice anyway, but if by some crazy happenstance we notice there's a missing player, you better go ask the SIDs about it, and they'll look into it and get back to us after Saturday's game, I'm assuming. This is true. Like this is what we're dealing with in the media nowadays. It's crazy. Like this is all true. What I said, the $100 bet, the look.
It's a little intense at times.
I'm not making this stuff up. Like people watching this are going to think, "Oh, Matt's just joking." I am not joking. That is all true. Okay, that is all what happened yesterday morning.
It gets a little intense at times. All right, we got a few more things to talk about today, but first, let's hear from our friends at LifeWallet.
Hey, Jordan, are you feeling all right?
Hey, you sure you good?
Hey man, how you feeling?
I feel really dizzy.
Do you have LifeWallet?
I do have LifeWallet.
Program activated.
Hey, Jordan, you all right?
Actually, I'm great because I have my Life wallet.
You just love playing my favorite Life Wallet commercial where
I like you got a volleyball player, you got a football player, you got basketball players. I love the crossover that they got going on.
What's better than a college athlete pretending he's dead? That's freaking genius. I wish I thought of that for an ad.
Come on, man. You focus on the cinematography, the creativeness of the.
Listen, you know what I'm doing next practice? I'm dressing up in a Jimbo, I'm gonna get a Jimbo Fisher, one of those Mission Impossible masks, and I'm gonna go out there with the reporters, and I'm gonna sneak out there during the period I'm not supposed to be, and let's see what happens. Because that's basically that's the look they gave us. It was like Jimbo Fisher was walking on the field watching team drills. That's like the look of just pure horror that we got when we accidentally walked onto the field.
That would be great, actually. I wonder if there is a Jimbo Fisher mask. We'll have to look for one of those.
I don't think we'll need one. If we call Jimbo Fisher tomorrow and say, hey, do you want to watch some of Miami's team drills? He'll be on the next plane down, bro. You don't need the mask.
All right. The basketball Life Wallet commercial is a little bit appropriate today because we also have a story on basketball recruiting and a young man out of Connecticut by the name of Elmarco Jackson. He's one of the best guards in the country, top 5 point guard. He will be visiting Miami this weekend. We talked to him in advance of that visit, and that's certainly something worth checking out. Let's see what else. If you missed the CaneSport Live show last night, you can watch that today as well on the website. We've got the Lamar Thomas show coming up tonight with special guests Kelvin Harris and Darren Crine will be joining Lamar, myself, Bruce Warner. So we invite everybody to join us for this week's Lamar Thomas show. That should be a lot of fun. And we'll have some other stuff coming up on the website later today. So stay with us. Check the website out about the middle of the day. We'll have some new content for you, I'm sure. And Matt, I think that sums it up for this morning, though.
Listen, Mario's talking, so we'll get him in a little bit here, and Jake Garcia too. We'll have on the site.
Yep. Well, Mario, well, Jake Garcia.
Yeah. So should be good.
Yep. So lots of good stuff coming up later today at CaneSport.com. So once again, we thank you guys very much for starting your day off with us. Hit your subscribe button, hit your like button, help us out with the YouTube artificial intelligence computers that work in the background of all these shows that we do. They have these crazy algorithms, and somehow it helps us if you subscribe and you like. So please do that. Get our numbers up. If you haven't yet subscribed to CaneSport.com, you can still take advantage of our $1 new site introductory special. I don't think you'll be sorry. I mean,
really, how did somebody ask yesterday, how do I sign up for the site? How does somebody ask that? Like, it's literally a continuous scroll. It literally says CaneSport at the top of the screen. Google CaneSport, or look at the bottom where it says CaneSport.com. That could be a clue.
In the upper right-hand corner,
we give little tiny clues to people who want to subscribe. Just very subtle clues. Very hard to figure out.
Yeah, and everything we do is made possible by your guys' subscription. So we really appreciate the support. We've had CaneSport going now for something like 30 years, and it's all due to your guys and the support that we continue to receive from you guys through all the years. And that's why we were able to move our site from one network to a little bit better network situation and do all the things that we do. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tonight on the Lamar Thomas Show. If you can make it, we'll see you tomorrow on Good Morning CaneSport. Have a great day, everybody.